All right, we back at it once more again. I'm back at it. Another chapter in the books for How to Win Friends and Influence People. Chapter 6. Flip the camera around. Chapter 6. How to make people like you instantly. It all goes off of the notion to make the other person feel important and do it in a sincere, genuine fashion. Always make the other person feel important. As we've already noted in the book, the desire to be important is the deepest urge in human nature. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. As has already been pointed out, it is this urge that differentiates us from the animals. It is the urge that has been responsible for civilization itself. And this statement has been played out through so many different groups throughout life. Whether you have the Zoroaster taught it to his followers in Persia 2,500 years ago. Confucius preached it to China 24 centuries ago. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, taught it to his disciples in the Valley of Han. Buddha preached it on the bank of the holy Ganges 500 years before Christ. The sacred books of Hinduism taught it in thousands of years before that. Jesus taught it among the stony hills of Judea 19 centuries ago. Jesus summed it up on one thought, probably the most important rule in the world. I think I just caught some lightning there. It's a bit far away though, so no worries whatsoever. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. As always, hearty in your and their approbations and lavish in your/their praise. All of us want that. Yes, we do. The golden rule. And give it unto others what we would have others give unto us. Boom. Boom. Little phrases that are so vital to come across as just acknowledging somebody and showing they're important, such as, I'm sorry to trouble you. Would you be so kind as to blank? Won't you please? Would you mind? Thank you. Little courtesies like these oil the cogs. I had to look up what cogs was because I didn't really understand that was cogs. There's a cog wheel. It's like a lot of mechanics. It's like my bike right there. The cog wheel right there. No idea if my finger is on the portion I'm trying to point to, but there's the gear chain lies right on the cog wheel. So little courtesies like that oil the cogs of the monotonous grind of everyday life, and incidentally, they are the hallmark of good breeding. Love it. The unvarnished truth is that almost all the people you meet feel themselves superior to you in some way, and a sure way to their hearts is to let them realize in some subtle way that you recognize their importance and recognize it sincerely. Gotta. Every man I meet is my superior in some way, and that I learn of him. That's what Emerson said. I cannot remember his first name, Emerson. I remember that quote, though, talking about earlier in the book. Powerful. The powerful. Shout out to the powerful Joe Rogan. I remember hearing that statement. A lot of people the guests will say, like, oh, when Joe Rogan says something catchy or just well said or well elaborated, sometimes the guests will go, oh my goodness, the powerful Joe Rogan. Getting sidetracked right now off this book. But yeah, then the author talks about a story of a man who went to go see his aunt, and he wanted to put into practice appreciating somebody and letting them know how important they are. And so his aunt of hers lived all by herself in this big house, this old house built in the 1890s. And to sum up, he just praised her on the value and appreciation of what a house like this and how beautiful it is and how rare it is to have a house built in this time period, which is probably the 1930s or whatever, when this book was written. to sum it up, his appreciation and taking the time and listening and seeing all of the vast hidden gems that were in his aunt's house that were beauty in her eyes led him to receiving a gift of a pristine, in mint condition car. To have that Packard, I don't know what a Packard is, but it's at the time I'm sure it's more of a vintage car back then that certainly had a lot of value, but she didn't want to give it to any other family member because she knew her belated husband bought it for her at one time before he shortly passed afterwards, and she didn't want to see it go to waste in the form of somebody driving it without them knowing that and them not cherishing it for its beauty and such. And she gave it to her, let's see if that's his nephew, giving it to her nephew because her nephew valued and appreciated beauty. So again, it goes back to just making that person you are with, in whatever circumstance, important, feeling important. Talk to people about themselves. One of the shrewdest... Okay, yeah. Disarray. Said Disarray. Well, I'm just going to end up with this chapter. Talk to people about themselves, said Disarray, one of the shrewdest men who ever ruled the British Empire, and they will listen for hours. Principle 6. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Boom! In the nutshell, to sum up, 6 ways to make people like you. Ooh, got them all right there. I'm going to say them out again. 6 ways to make people like you. Principle 1, become genuinely interested in other people. How do you like that lightning background? Pretty cool, right? Principle 2, smile. Ooh, yeah. Principle 3, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Principle 4, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Boom. Principle 5, talk in terms of the other person's interests. And Principle 6, make the person feel important and do it sincerely. Alrighty. Another chapter in the books. Loving it as always, and I will check in with you in the future. Peace.